What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome to my channel. If you are a college football fan, well, then this is the channel for you. I'm putting out lots of prediction videos here in about 4 days, which it's June 1st, by the way. Happy June to everyone out there watching this video. My apologies, excuse me. Predictions start again on June 5th. And if you want to see me predict your favorite team, because yes, I am doing all 133 FBS teams, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, anything you can to help support the channel, which includes liking and commenting. And speaking of commenting, I would like you guys to help me out with a little bit of feedback. Those of you that plan to stick around on my channel, I have bought a new microphone, which you saw right there. It's a Blue Yeti Nano, and this thing is amazing. I love this thing. But again, I'm still trying to work out levels and everything like that. And I'm also shooting at a higher frame rate with some different specs. So anything that you guys can do to help tell me, like, your mic volume's too high, too low, the frame rate keeps lagging or whatever, just tell me and I'll try and see what I can figure out, right? I will try and see if I can figure something out, change the levels to the best of my ability. I'm not super techie, so I will do what I can, but please let me know any feedback in the comment section below. All right. I'm really excited to dive into today's video. I actually wrote up a whole whiteboard of things so I don't go off on tangents, which probably will still happen anyway. You know that if you've been on my channel for a while. But we are talking, if you've read the title of the video, about the state of college football. Woo. This can be a heavy, heavy discussion to have because I know there are a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions about where college football is right now. Some of you think college football is trending up and will only continue that way, although not necessarily majority, but the loud majority of you think that college football is trending downhill. And I'm not specifically targeting anyone out there watching this video. I'm just saying college football fans in general, or people out there on the web or in real life, people I've talked to, think that college football is going on the downhill slope. And why do some people think college football is going on the downhill slope? Well, college football is undergoing a lot of change right now, and a lot of people don't like some of the changes that are going on in college football right now. And what I have to say to those people, which, by the way, this video is not going to sit here and invalidate any opinions that you guys have, because whether you're worried about conference realignment, the transfer portal, anything like that, you have the right to feel that way. And there are things to definitely be concerned about in college football. But this video is here to, I'm going to say, try to convince you that everything is going to be okay and college football is going to be just fine. College football is changing in people's opinion. It might be changing for the better or for the worse, but I can tell you that college football is changing, and college football has always changed, and it will never stop changing. College football has existed long before my time. I'm only 20, by the way. College football has existed long before my time, and it will continue to exist long beyond me, right? College football has existed for over 150 years, and it's got 150 times whatever number you can think of left. College football is going to exist for a very, very long time. There is no doubt in my mind about that. College football will exist way beyond my lifetime, and it's always going to change. What I've noticed out there is that some of the, I'll say, more experienced and seasoned college football fans are not panicking about all the changes going on in college football right now. Why? Because they've seen it happen. And my first thing with that is conference realignment, which is probably the biggest example of change happening in college football, or that I should say that change has always happened in college football. Conference realignment would be the biggest example of that. And it's always been here, guys. Conference realignment is not this new thing. Conference realignment has been around forever. It's been around pretty much since college football has gotten its feet up off the ground. Conference realignment has existed. And I know the big debate going on right now is yes, with those teams in the ACC, but I can promise you the ACC is not going anywhere anytime soon. No, it's about what the future of the Pac 12 is. Now, your guess is as good as mine on whether or not the Pac 12 is going to fold or the Pac 12 is going to start adding some of these teams to try to revive itself. Honestly, guys, with conference realignment, some people out there say that they know that this is going to happen. This will happen. These teams will go here. No one knows. No one knows. The coaches don't know. The players sure as heck don't know. The ADs don't even know. No one knows what's going to happen with conference realignment, not only in college football, but in any sport. College basketball, college baseball, whatever you watch, conference realignment is here to stay. It's not going away, and it's unpredictable. But some people have an adverse reaction to conference realignment. Maybe they don't like the way that geography has been thrown out the window. Yeah, if you've been living under a rock and you're just thinking like, well, all the East Coast teams are in this conference and all the West Coast teams are in this conference, you can bundle up that piece of paper, scrunch it up, and toss it in your office trash can because that is no longer a thing. Geography doesn't really mean anything anymore. We're about to have UCLA and USC play Big Ten games in 2024. If that doesn't tell you that geography doesn't mean anything, I don't really know what does. But the interesting thing going back to the Pac-12, see, I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. I'll probably do that more in this video. Also, don't know how long this video is going to be. I appreciate you guys for enjoying me on the ride. Conference realignment, as I've said earlier, has always been here. And there are a select few people, not necessarily any one of you out there, but a select few people that are worried about the Pac-12 folding. And I got to remind you that this has happened before. Think way back, some of the more seasoned people out there, to the Southwest Conference. Now, there were casualties from the Southwest Conference, right? Texas and Oklahoma, they're still around kicking, and they are a fine program now, right? But a lot of people forget that Rice was in that conference. Yeah, Rice at one point, food, was in the same conference as Texas and Oklahoma. And when you look at Rice now, no disrespect to any Rice fans out there, but they are nowhere near the level that Texas and Oklahoma are at. Texas and Oklahoma are about to go play in the SEC, which hands down is the best conference in all of college football, and that is a fact. That is a proven fact, and it will be until another conference proves them otherwise. But when the Southwest Conference disbanded, people weren't saying, well, that's the end of college football, it's ruined. No, and even in my time, I remember when the Big East folded, and again, a select few people were saying, well, that's it, there goes. No, college football is not going to be ruined because teams move, right? There will be casualties, and I'm not going to sit here and say if you are an Oregon State fan or a Washington State fan or any one of those schools in the Pac-12 that remain, maybe besides Oregon and Washington, I think they're going to be okay. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything is going to be okay. There will be casualties along the way, but for the majority, the sport that we know as college football is going to be okay. Conference realignment is not going to ruin that. Here are some of the more bigger things and some of the more bigger talking points that honestly deserve their own video, but I'm throwing them in here anyway because they're talked about. The transfer portal and name, image, and likeness deals. Sorry, it's important to drink water, kids. Make sure you stay hydrated. Kids and adults out there, make sure you stay hydrated. The transfer portal and NIL are really changing how college football works, and they're really changing the way that coaches have to think about their rosters, right? With the transfer portal, not only do coaches have to recruit these players in high school, they also have to try to recruit their own rosters, because who knows how many of the kids on your favorite team will be jumping in the portal next winter and spring. I'm trying not to use the term offseason because really there is none in college football. But when you have some kids jump in the portal, well, they're going to look to go elsewhere, right? But here's the thing about the transfer portal. I have heard it being called college football free agency. And while I don't necessarily disagree with that terminology, you got to decide whether you want to live by it or die by it. And we've seen both. Go ahead and look at coaches like Lincoln Riley, or more so prevalently in the news right now in Deion Sanders, who are living by it and are adding everyone under the moon and sun that is located in that transfer portal. And look at coaches like Dabo Sweeney, who don't really utilize the portal at all. He just chooses not to use it. The transfer portal is a tool, and coaches can either choose to use it or they cannot use it. And whatever they decide to do is whatever they decide to do. But the transfer portal is not the reason that college football is going to go downhill. The transfer portal, in my opinion, is giving some of these kids a pretty good opportunity to go get playing time, right? That's what all of these players want. They just want to play. They just want to play the game that they grew up watching and loving. They just want to play the game that they have played all throughout high school. They just want to go out there and play. Sorry, trying to gather my thoughts. If I pause here, I'm just trying to gather up some thoughts. Maybe looking at my board will help. But the transfer portal is a tool, right? And you can either choose to use it or to not use it. That's really the two options you got there as a college football head coach and as a collegiate program. You can use it, you can not use it. Really up to you what you want to do. But this transfer portal thing has exploded, and I'm going to go ahead and dive into NIL now too as well. People are saying that NIL is ruining college football, right? Unregulated NIL, might I add, is not ruining college football. It is changing a lot of things about college football that personally I don't like, and I know a lot of people out there don't like either. But what I have always believed in is that players deserve to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. College football, as I'll discuss later, college football, as I will discuss later, is very lucrative, which means it makes a lot of money. A lot of money. There's a lot of money and a lot of stake in college football, and the NIL is just a new part of that. It's a new part of an athletic department's budget now. But notice the key word in that phrase: budget. A lot of people out there think that NIL and the transfer portal, we're just going to lead all of these schools to nab up all the 4- and 5-star prospects. I'm talking about the Ohio States, Michigans, Clemson's, Bama's, Georgia's, and Oklahoma, Texas, USC, likewise, right? Like those programs. A lot of people thought like, oh, it's just an easy way for those programs out there to go buy those players. And that's not the case at all. Go ahead and look at the top 10 in recruiting rankings before NIL and post NIL. Apart from a couple different teams, do they really look any different? I mean, you still see Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan. They're still going to have those recruiting classes in the top 10. Oregon's up there as well. There are a couple other teams that jump up into the top 10 in recruiting. But again, have they really changed much? No, not really. Sure, it may dictate where some players go now because schools are offering more money to this certain player, but that's just it, right? When a school adds a big-time transfer name and they offer them a lot of money in NIL deal, that is money that will not be going to kids coming out of high school, will not be going to kids that are already on their roster that are proving themselves, right? So NIL and the transfer portal are just really changing the ways that coaches look at their own roster. Not only do they have to recruit their own roster now, but in terms of NIL money, they also have to decide how much of it they're going to give to high school kids, how much of it they are going to give to transfer portal additions, and how much of it they're going to give to their own roster that is sitting in front of them on the spreadsheet on their desk. That's what the NIL and transfer portal are doing. Now, one thing I do want to talk about with on the field things is the expanded playoff. I have heard that the expanded playoff is going to ruin college football. I think the expanded playoff is going to enhance college football. Guys, it's just more college football. You're going to complain about that? You're going to complain about getting more college football, and more specifically, you're going to complain about home field environment playoff games? I don't think so. I don't care if it's Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina or if it's UAB in Western Kentucky. If that is the 5-12 game that I am getting, I'm not going to complain. I like watching all sorts of college football, and especially if it's going to be a matchup of like LSU versus Wisconsin, or maybe I can use a better example here. If you're going to go watch like Clemson in Death Valley, I'll go out there and say Washington, right? Washington's going to be pretty good this year. They got a really good coach. They should be good for a long time. But like, you're going to tell me you're going to deny watching Clemson and Washington in a playoff game? No, no. And in my opinion, the expanded playoff is going to create a lot more meaningful games, right? Really what you see right now in college football with the 4-team playoff, there's only like this many teams, a handful of teams that are capable of making the college football playoff as it currently stands at 4 teams. And again, while there is limited space, you're going to get the best of the best playing for those 4 spots, right? You're going to get your Ohio States and Clemson's and Bama's and Georgia's and lately Michigan. And back in the day it was Oregon and Florida State. Washington has made an appearance in there as well. LSU has gone and won a national championship, right? The expanded playoff is going to create more meaningful games, and the teams that rank about 12 to 20 on the rankings. In fact, I'll say 12 to 25. Really, when you go ahead and look at a matchup right now of the 21st ranked team in the nation against the 23rd ranked team in the nation, right? You might be like, oh, wow, that's a compelling case. That's a compelling game. Does it really have college football playoff implications on it? No. Well, in the coming years, you could have a case where the 21st ranked team is playing the 23rd ranked team. I'll say, for whatever reason, Iowa and Wisconsin are ranked 21st and 23rd. That game right there, with a 12-team playoff field, is going to have college football playoff implications. It's going to create more, and I hate to use the word meaningful games, because every game is meaningful, right? Every single game is meaningful in the sport of college football, but it's going to create more games that have a playoff type atmosphere to it, right? And I hear what some of you out there are saying. You're saying, well, it's going to devalue the value of games where like number 3 versus number 5 are playing. It's going to basically devalue the top 10 or top 5 matchups, especially the top 5 matchups, because those two teams are probably going to make the playoffs anyway. And while that is true, are you going to sit there and tell me, and this is just the way that my brain thinks, but are you going to sit there and tell me that if Ohio State and Michigan, again, just an easy example for me to use, but you're going to sit there and tell me, like, if Ohio State, Michigan, or if Florida State, Clemson, or if Alabama and Auburn, or whatever 2 teams you want to throw out there, are anywhere from 1 to 5 each in the nation, so we'll say like number 2 and number 4, or number 1 and number 2, you're going to tell me that that game doesn't mean something to you? It means a whole lot to me. I would never pass up the opportunity to watch number 1 versus number 2 on any stage. Regular season, whether that's in September or November, whether that's in a national championship game, like anywhere. Number 1 versus number 2, or number 3 versus number 5, whatever numbers you want to throw out that consist in the top 5, I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to watch a game that good. I personally think the expanded playoffs are going to be good for college football. Now, the auto bid system thing, I used to really be fond of it because hey, it gave the group of 5 team a shot, but I'm starting to fall off the whole auto bid thing if it okay, here's the thing, right? If you're going to have an auto bid system, you need to eliminate divisions across every conference in college football. Every single one. The Big Ten right now still has divisions. They got to go. The SEC still has divisions, and all of those divisions have worked out pretty well. It just happens that Georgia's in one and Alabama's in the other. That's got to go, right? Like divisions have to be done and away with. Divisions to me are a thing of the past, especially with the expanded playoff coming in. Just no, no, no. Mm-mm. You can't do it. No divisions. I've been a fan of that for a long time. It's not just because of the expanded playoff, but I think especially with the expanded playoff, like divisions just got to go. You need a true number 1 and number 2 team in the conference championship game, not like years past in the Big Ten and Pac-12 where you have like Ohio State or Michigan on one end, and then you have like, oh, here's a surprise 8-4 Iowa team that made it, or like, oh, look, Purdue came out of the West last year. You know they're going to get their head blown off in the Big Ten championship game by whoever comes on the other side of that football, right? Or like, look at the Pac-12. Sometimes you'll have a 11-1 team and then a 9-3, 8-4 team in there, and that hasn't been the case the past couple of years, but couple years before that back, it did used to be the case. So I think the expanded playoff, with everything I just said, is going to be really good for college football. Sorry, don't know why that took so long to get out, but I think the expanded playoffs are going to be really good. I think they're going to be really fun. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to be engaging. And hey, and it extends the season, right? Now, while a lot of you may disagree with extending the season, who doesn't want more college football? I know I do. I wish we had college football 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, I believe I said this at the top of this video, but correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people out there seem to think that college football is being ruined by any one of those things that I have mentioned or more of them. And I think I know what you really think is troubling college football, and that is the money aspect of it, right? It's how lucrative college football is. College football is more lucrative than you or I could ever imagine. Perfect example. Look at the TV deal that the Big Ten just signed. $7 billion. $1 billion per year. Billion with a B. That's bigger than a million for all you youngsters out there watching. That is an insane amount of money to be putting on college student athletes. And yes, I do use the term student athletes because I am one, right? I fully believe that they are students first and athletes second. No, I'm not a student athlete. I'm saying like I am a college student right now. So student athlete, the terminology means a lot to me because yeah, they're students, guys. Like they're not just there to go win your football team some games. Like they're a student. They have an education. Like they're going to school. That's a topic for a whole nother video. Again, I'm getting sidetracked, but college football is lucrative and some people don't like that, well, this person is going there for more money, or this school is going to that conference for more money, or more money this, more money that, right? Let me paint a picture for you. If you are working whatever 9 to 5 you want to think of, or whatever your dream job is, if you have company A over here telling you, hey, we think you do a really good job, we want to keep you here on staff, and we're going to pay you this much. And they set your paycheck at, I'll use an arbitrary number, $50,000. And you have company B over here saying, hey, we love your services. We would really appreciate if you would leave company A and come over here. Oh, and we'll pay you double. $100,000 will be your salary. Now, while I don't know you guys personally on that level, I think it's fair and safe to assume that most of you would go ahead and pick Company B, right? You want that $100,000 paycheck. You want that six-figure deal. And sometimes Company B can be a lot more enticing than Company A. Go ahead and take a look at Keon Coleman, just to throw out a name here. Now, I don't know what sort of NIL deal he's getting, and I don't know all the ins and outs of that, and honestly, I could care less. But when you look at Keon Coleman at Michigan State, like, Michigan State might be an okay team this year. They were not very good last year, but he's transferred over to Florida State. And right now, Florida State looks like a gold mine. And that's a team that I fully believe can go win a national championship in 2023. So do you see kind of how my analogy plays into that, right? College football is lucrative. And yes, money is going to be whether we like it or not. I personally don't like it, but again, it is what it is. Money is going to be a very driving thing in a lot of these discussions happening in boardrooms all across the country. And whether you like it, whether you don't like it, well, it's just something you're going to have to live with because it's probably not going to change anytime soon. That being said, college football is not being ruined. College football is changing, that's for sure, but college football is nowhere near going downhill. Do you have any idea how strong this sport is? Here, let me paint another picture for you. It is, I don't know, I'll throw out some random number here, right? It is September 3rd. We are in, I believe the game is being played in Orlando. The game is being played in Orlando, right? Between LSU and Florida. Two teams that are probably going to be top 10 in the rankings once the preseason poll comes out. That's a week one matchup, by the way, LSU and Florida State. Let's say that the Seminoles have the ball on the 20-yard or on the 33-yard line of LSU. And the Tigers are up by 2 points with 3 minutes left. And Mike Norvell's squad has got to decide, okay? It's fourth down. Do we kick the game-winning field goal? We're sending out the field goal unit to take a 1-point lead. Here we go. Pause for a second. I know if you've watched Josh Pate, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but it made sense to me, so I felt like reverberating it out there again. What I'm trying to say is when the season is going on, are you really sitting out there thinking about all the transfers that your team has lost, or are you thinking about how much NIL money your players are making, or are you really thinking of where your team is going to end up in conference realignment? To me, the answer is no, because you care about the product on the field. College football will not be ruined until you take away Saturdays in the fall. Any given Saturday, anything can happen. Any given weekday, Sunday, Monday, whenever college football is played, anything can happen. And until you take away the tradition and the passion and the just insanity of college football and any given Saturday, that is when college football is being ruined. And again, I use that word lightly. College football is changing, yes, and college football will continue to change. And whether you like it for the better or for the worse, college football is here to stay for a very, very long time. Hey, this was a super fun video to record and talk about and kind of express all my thoughts on these certain different things. And I know some people feel the same way about things. Some people don't. And hey, that is okay. But the state of college football, again, I don't know that I can give a definitive answer on everything, but I can tell you that the safety of college football is A-OK. College football will be here for a very, very long time. This video has about pushed over half an hour. In fact, it's almost pushing over half an hour right about now. We're at half an hour right there. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please feel free to leave any of your thoughts in the comment section down below. The only thing I ask, keep it respectful, please. But that's all I got for you here. College football, not going anywhere. It's changing, but it's not going anywhere. I got one more video coming out about playoff contenders, national championship contenders, and then predictions start on June 5th. We're starting with a full week of covering the SEC. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Again, my name is Tailgate Nate. You want more of my content, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. You can like the video, comment down below. Anything you can to help support the channel would mean a lot to me. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.